And now we have the interview that I have been eagerly waiting for, and I'm so glad to have here with me Ananya Goparaju and her guru, Brandon McIntosh. Hi, Ananya. Welcome.
Hi. Great to be here.
Hey, Brandon. Welcome
Hi.
to you too. It's good to have you back.
Always.
And Ananya, I believe this is your first radio interview.
It is.
Well, here's to many, many more. I think you will be seeing a lot of stations and studios in the coming years. So I have your very first album here, Indian Classical Ragas on Piano, and that's extremely interesting.
It is.
So how old are you?
I was 11 actually when we recorded the album, and it took us a while to do the prep, and so now I'm 12.
Okay, so there you heard her. She is 12 years old, and she plays the piano, and she plays the Hindustani classical music on the piano. Is that right, Ananya?
Yes, it is.
So how did you get started?
Well, actually, when I was in kindergarten, we had a piano teacher come in and teach us how to play the piano, and I loved it so much that my mom and dad, they decided to sign me up with Brandon.
Was it Mr. Brandon?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And see,
I think you were 6 then, right?
I was 6, 5 or 6, something like that.
See, I call you Mr. Brandon too. That's because Mr. Brandon taught my daughter as well, and so I think everyone who studied under him from here,
that's become my name now.
I know, it's Mr. Brandon. So you took lessons from Mr. Brandon when you were 6?
Yeah, 6. And I'm 12 now, so it's been 6 years. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And her math is good too.
Aw, thanks.
So this is kind of fun having the both of you here, because this is not like your traditional. I'm so used to having traditional artists, traditional guru, shishya parampara thing happening here with all the classical artists, and this is so fun. This is so much more fun.
This is the guru shishya right here.
Right here, that's it, with the contemporary way, the way it's supposed to be, relaxed, nice. So you started learning the regular classical piano, and then at what point did it become Hindustani classical?
Well, for the first few years we started learning Western classical, and then Mr. Brandon had an epiphany, and he was like, we should totally do Indian classical on the piano. So when I was in 3rd or 4th grade, he's like, yeah. And so we started playing Indian classical on the keyboard.
Yeah, that's true, yeah. So I started teaching in the Sammamish area, and my background, I've been on this show quite a few times. My background is I've been doing learning Indian classical for 15 plus years on Sarod, and I have my master's in Western classical music composition as well. So I was just starting out teaching piano. I started teaching little kids and some guitar students, and then most of them were Indian. And I was like, wow, how can I really get my passion in here? And I started to sneak a few Indian classical songs in there just to test the water and see how the parents reacted. And it took off, and Ananya is really taken to it, and so her CD is now the sort of culmination of that process, and really it's been fun for me too, because I've been developing what I can do on the piano, and Ananya's helping me with that too.
Wow, it's just wonderful to hear that you've already got this rapport, and you're kind of composing together as well. Is that right? Ananya, you've been working on some pieces. Do you want to talk about that?
Yeah, the pieces for the album?
The
Sure.
Kamaj piece.
Oh, yeah. So, usually what happens in Indian classical is your teacher gives you the main composition, and then the rest of it is improvised. But for a competition, I composed the main composition myself, and then I did all the improvising.
It was a competition, did you say?
Yeah, it was a competition.
What kind of, was it for classical music on Western?
Mr. Brandon was actually having a competition in his little school.
Oh yeah, so I have recitals twice a year, and so I thought it'd be fun to mix it up, and so I said I would give an award to the best composition. So a bunch of kids wrote compositions, and Ananya won the award for it, and she ended up composing a piece that was entirely in Kamaj and really fit on the piano and was very awesome. And so we ended up wanting to put that on her CD too.
Wonderful. Anything else you want to tell me about this piece? I've got it on your CD, and I'm going to play it in a bit.
Well, I'd like to know how you came up with it. I don't think I heard that.
Well, basically, I took what I learned from like the other rags and everything, and it just slowly, it just came to me, you know?
I do know.
Oh my, yes, I've heard a lot of artists say that it comes to them. How long did it take for you to compose this piece?
I think 2 to 3 months, because at that time I don't know, I was young.
It was last year.
Oh,
It was,
okay.
No, it was
I
just.
wasn't that young.
This has got to be the most fun interview that I've ever had. When a 12-year-old says, I can't remember, I was young. That is really quite interesting. So I'm going to play this for you. I think I've heard this piece a little bit before, and I think there's great maturity in Ananya's playing. And I'm really enjoying myself playing this piece for you. So let's take a listen to this. Again, the album is called Indian Classical Ragas on Piano, and it was released by London Bridge CDs, and I do believe it's available for purchase. A couple of different places. CD Baby is one place. Anybody else?
Amazon, Google Play,
there you go. There we go.
iTunes.
Right, so let's get listening right now. Kamaj is the track. KBCS. That was Ananya Goparaju from her first album, Indian Classical Ragas on piano, in a piece that she composed in the Kamaj Rag. And there are a few other tracks on this album, really beautiful sounding ones. I haven't given any of this a listen, but I do believe they are wonderful. Ananya, you want to talk about the other pieces here? There's something in the Gora Kalyan, and there's a Vrindavani Sarang piece, a Purvi.
Well, basically, like Mr. Brandon, he taught me a ton of ragas, and like these kind of really spoke to me, and I really enjoyed those ragas. So we were like, let's play them.
And you improvised?
I did improvise. So basically, the main composition is just like the beginning and like 1/4 of the whole song, and the rest is just me doing what I want to do on the piano.
Yeah, and the interesting thing about Indian classical music is it's free like jazz, but also like jazz, there are constraints that, you try to stick within the chord framework in jazz, where in Indian classical music you try to stick within the pathway that's given to you, and that pathway is the rag. So really a true artist can take these limitations and really make them blossom and, make them limitless. So Ananya's done a good job of being able to take that framework and spin off her own improvisations.
Aw, thanks.
Oh, shucks.
Oh, fun. So I do know that, just getting your head wrapped around the different ragas and the basic structure itself can be extremely complex, and the quality of playing that I've heard on the CD so far is just it's very mature, and you must have put in a lot of practice and a lot of effort into this, and I can see that you're very committed to what you do, and you're 12, and that it's kind of hard. It's not often that you find this quality of playing and this level of I don't maturity, musical maturity, in someone as young as yourself. How do you do it?
Well, basically, for the album, it did require a lot of practice because many rags you have to be comfortable within the rags, and so it's just that drive. You gotta feel it.
A lot of
You gotta want it.
You sound like Brandon now. I can hear him in that.
Yeah. My guru would always say, "You must grind it."
Is that?
Oh, he called me the other day, actually, in the morning. He called me at 7 a.m. I was totally asleep. He said, "I got the CD. Thanks so much."
Did you listen to it?
I don't think he listened to it yet, but he wanted to call
sad
me.
news.
That's really amazing. That what was his reaction?
Well, the main thing is when he came here last year, and when he came here and he saw all the students, furthering the Gharana, and our Gharana is maybe less known than some others, and he was just so happy, he just brought tears to his eyes. He was just blown away that here are 50 students in the, in Sammamish, really, furthering the Gharana's music and carrying it to the next generation.
Fantastic. Website, plug?
Just, no?
No.
I'm full.
He's full.
Like, honestly, you have to admire Mr. Brandon's dedication to the music, to teach the next generation all this, because it takes a lot. I'm proud of him.
Yeah,
it does.
You have to put up with 11 and 12-year-olds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now you're doing this full time.
Yeah.
You've got your little school that you're building and you're nurturing, and it is a lot of hard work.
Yeah, it's well. I don't want to take up too much of the time, but it's I remember my dad when I was doing my undergrad in percussion, Central Washington. We were driving over the pass, and he said, "So what do you want to do in the future?" And I said, "Well, if I could do anything, I know this is kind of stupid, but I would want to teach Indian classical music and open a school." he's like, yeah, what would you really want to do? You know, what are you
Yeah,
really gonna do?
yeah.
And so I just kind of put that aside. And,
Yeah, that's a question that a lot of artists get asked, and you know, what do you really want to do? When you say you want to become a musician, I think they usually get, all right, that's fine.
Yeah,
But what do you
they were
really want to do?
right, and they were like, okay, he's going to be a musician, but an Indian classical musician.
Yeah, yeah.
It is really rare. Yeah, especially like on the piano and like guitar and all those Indian classical traditional instruments.
So, have you gotten any reactions, Ananya, from your friends on the CD?
They're all like, yeah, we're proud of you, woohoo. I don't know if they actually listen to it. I haven't actually given them the CD yet,
okay.
except for like a few close friends, so yeah.
What do you want to do next?
Well, basically, I want to like, you know, get deeper, like understand the music better, and like get farther into it.
Yeah, and this CD was a commemoration. She was preparing for this Swarganga music competition. There's one in Atlanta every year. And they decided not to. She was in the running, but then decided not to go there. But we thought, why don't we commemorate it with a CD? She did all this hard work and prepared, you know, all these songs. So then she made a CD.
Actually, the Purvi one that we did was like the one I played from, like, was it an audition?
Yeah, it was an audition.
Yeah, for my audition.
And so how many hours a day do you practice, Ananya?
Well, it actually depends on like my homework levels, and
You're in 7th grade.
Yeah, I'm in 7th grade,
That's
and
right.
I have a lot of other activities, right?
What else do you do?
Like I dance, I do martial arts, and I do have homework levels, and so my most of the practice is done over the weekend.
Nice. And do you have other friends who play with you? Do you have a group of people that you practice with regularly?
I don't practice with anybody. It's just me, because
So
we didn't really do any duets, right? No.
Yeah, Indian classical music is kind of a solitary pursuit in some ways. You can put together an ensemble, and occasionally when we have, like, when there's an India Day or some festival, then I'll put together an ensemble. And a lot of the kids, like Ananya, is learning violin in school, and a lot of my other piano students also learn other instruments in school. So I try to like have them do Indian classical on those instruments just to put an ensemble together, so it's not all pianos.
And it's really, really cool, actually. It sounds really, really good if we're all playing in tune.
Do you enjoy performing on stage?
I get nervous, but when you're like part of a big group, you feel like, yeah, we can do this, and then it's actually really, really fun. And the practices, the rehearsals are all also really fun.
Pandemonium.
Yeah, and we always have food, and food is great. So.
Well, there you have it. We have a classic 12-year-old musical genius in the making. Ananya Goparaju. Indian Classical Ragas on the Piano is the album, and there was Chaz Hastings did the tabla work on that album.
Yeah.
And this was recorded
And it was recorded in
London Bridge Studios, which is, I always like to say, was where Pearl Jam made 10, a studio founded by Rick Parasher, who's a local musician who recently passed away.
And that's where your previous album was recorded as
Yeah, I
well.
have a band, Anjuman, and we recorded there.
Yeah. And this is what can I play off of this album? What would you like? I'll play one more track.
Gorak Kalyan.
The Gora Kalyan is it special? Is there anything you want to share
the
about
most
it?
recent rag I've played, and it's actually like I enjoy it a lot.
You
It's
do?
really fun, and I think I'm the most comfortable with that one.
Do you want to become a professional musician? Is that something that's there on the horizon for you?
I think it's too early to decide yet. I want to get to a certain level. Like, I have dreams of like maybe one day giving concerts with Brandon, because that would.
You said Carnegie Hall, right?
Yeah, and it's a dream of mine to play in Carnegie Hall one day, and then maybe give a world tour, stuff like that.
I can see that happening. I can totally envision it. I think you're a very, very committed young girl, and you've got a fantastic family that supports you. And and you've been working so hard at it, and I can just see that you've got the right guidance with Brandon.
Yeah, and I also hope to like spread this kind of Indian classical music because it's so rare, and what Mr. Brandon's doing, it's great. It's fabulous.
So one tidbit. So I teach a lot in what is it, Wesley Park?
Wesley Park.
Wesley Park. I think I teach
neighborhood.
everybody there.
I used to live there.
And it's become kind of a thing in that neighborhood, and so like everyone's asking, "What rag are you doing?" You know, and it's
It's neighborhood talk.
yeah, and these kids are so into the ragas, which is so here we are, far away from India, but everyone's just so into the,
And this is probably something that you won't find even in an Indian neighborhood. You might find it in the classroom structure of a particular teacher or a particular guru, but you will definitely not find this kind of talk on the streets in a neighborhood in India.
Right.
And so, yeah, I agree with you. I think it's really incredible, to have that kind of atmosphere here. It's truly wonderful that you're able to take advantage of that, Ananya.
Yeah, all the students are just so enthusiastic about it because it's so fun, and when we all get together and we play, it's really fun to like see how much.
So what do you like about Indian classical music? Because it's so different than like Miley Cyrus and Taylor Swift.
This doesn't really have any limitations. You can do whatever you want, like if it's within the rock, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you continue to explore, and there's always so much more you can learn. There's no end.
Did you listen to it as a young child before you started the music? Was the music
No,
like,
it was just like Bollywood because my parents listened to it, but there wasn't not really Indian classical. But then I started getting into this. And then there was like I listened to it more because I was playing it, and then you can relate to it more, I guess.
And that's pretty typical, of any classical music. You really need some training to truly appreciate what you're listening to. Yeah. And it was created for that, it was music created in the courts for an educated audience. So it does require learning it to really, truly appreciate it. But then once you learn it, it becomes a language, and it's very, very deep, just like any other classical art form.
How did you get so? I mean, we spoke about this earlier, and Brandon said that he wanted to start teaching classical music on Western instruments. But how did you? I mean, I'm just still wondering how you took to it so well. I mean, was it? Do you feel like it was organic? Do you feel like it's natural for you to play the piano? Were you ever interested in other instruments? Did you give anything else a try?
Piano was actually the only instrument I had a lot of interest in. And actually, when Mr. Brandon first gave me like an Indian classical piece, I didn't really know the difference. I'm like, oh, another song, let's play it. Mm-hmm. And then I realized, oh, it's something different. But then I liked it even more because it's not just the standard notes. You can play around with it.
Mm.
And so then I started liking Indian classical more than Western, I guess. And then one thing led to another.
Well, I wish you many, many more compositions, much music in your life, and you're a delight to chat with. And Brandon, congratulations.
Thanks.
I think this is the beginning of a new dream for you.
Yeah, I'm living it.
It's truly wonderful to listen to the kind of playing that's coming from Ananya, and honestly, it's wonderful to have the both of you in the studios. You know what I really look forward to? I look forward to the next step when the both of you are able to play with each other, the piano and the sarod, and Chaz with his tabla, of course. So I might be speaking into the future here.
No,
but,
there's there is an album. Anyway, there is one time when my guru played with a piano player named Balsara in India, and it's out there in the ether webs. And anyway, we may try to recreate that piece. So I think we'll maybe play a track of the Gorak Kalyan, and that I wanted to say before that goes on that. This is a composition that was composed by my guru, Pandit Buddhadev Das Gupta, and this is a very popular song within our Gharana. So but it's adapted to the piano, of course.
Improvised, of course.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Thanks so much for coming, Ananya. Thank you, Brandon.
Thank you for having us.
Until next time, good luck with everything. Good luck with school as well. 7th grade can be tough, so good luck with that. And let's get listening to Gora Kalyan right now. KBCS 91.3. lots of times when there's a track that comes in this way, I'm going to shut down the line. People do that. Then you can just the dump one, like 8 seconds or whatever, airtime is easier for you. Yeah, 11 is when the show ends. So then by the time I wrap up, I have to do this. By the time I do this, all the sentiments stored for us. I have to go back. I have about 8 minutes of the show. So like the track. See you out here.
So you have to sit in the library.
Maybe 2, right? I'll give you a copy and have to edit the. You scared me. You know how many times that happens? I got the track and it goes and I say, oh no, that's the end. It isn't.
I don't know.
Cut there and go to the next section.
Something continues. Yes, yes, yes. Okay, tell me, I'll get the recording to your phone to the end of the meeting. I don't know how I can. Yeah, okay. Bye, drive safe. You have my contacts. Bye guys. Oh, yes.
A world of music and ideas, 91.3 KBCS Bellevue, Seattle. Listener supported public radio from Bellevue College. That was Ananya Goparaju, a track from her new release and her first album. Incredible young lady. The album is called Indian Classical Ragas on Piano, and that track was the Gorakh Kalyan, her improvisation of a piece that was originally written and composed and performed by Pandit Buddhadev Dasgupta.
I hope you enjoyed that interview, and if you missed it, you can get to listen to it again at our website kbcs.fm. The archive will be there for 2 weeks from today. Before that, you listened to another piece, also from Ananya's new album. That was the Kamaj, a piece that she had composed herself. It's wonderful when you know there's all these young artists just bringing so much beauty and music into the world. It's just fantastic to listen. And I do write to me. Tell me what your thoughts were. dj@kbcs.fm is my email address. Write to me and tell me what you thought about the music, and if you have any